Trump blames Powell, Powell blames Trump, and the Social Security Administration has just made it more difficult to apply for your benefits. Let's talk about it. Hello everybody, Joe Orbick coming at you. And if you haven't been under a rock for the last 2 months, then you are well aware that the stock market, which from its highs is down 19% in the NASDAQ, 16% in the S&P, and 14% in the Dow, all because of uncertainty in the markets. We go back in time to the beginning of the year, the stock markets were actually going up. We saw positive gains because the economic news was all good. The unemployment levels were right around 3 to 4%. GDP growth was still high. People were spending money, and we were excited about a new president that could possibly drive this economy forward. Unfortunately, around the time of February, Trump decided to announce massive tariffs that I don't know if any of us expected. This caused the stock market to begin to move sideways and down. Since the announcement of the tariffs, we've seen the stock market fall rather dramatically. Trump made the announcement in early February, saying that these tariffs would go into effect March 2nd. And we were unsure if this was just one of his schemes to get other countries to come to the negotiation table and make trade more fair for America. But whatever it was, we did not think these tariffs would actually go into effect. Unfortunately, March 2nd came, the tariffs went into effect, and the stock market began to fall even further. Later in March, Trump backed off and said we're going to delay the tariffs until April 2nd. And still, the stock market was down, but not down dramatically because we were still thinking that maybe these tariffs were just a play for Trump to get what he wanted. Unfortunately, April 2nd came, the tariffs went into effect, and the stock market quickly lost 10% in the next few days. Because this occurred, Trump decided to back off on the tariffs, and he put a 90-day wait limit on actually enacting the majority of the tariffs. Now, the tariffs for China are in effect, some of the tariffs for Mexico and Canada are in effect, and there's a 10% tariff on all countries in effect currently, but the larger tariffs are on pause for 90 days. Upon making this announcement, the stock market quickly recovered 10 to 12% in a single day. Unfortunately, because we haven't heard much from the president about the direction of these tariffs, the stock market then began to fall again quickly after we heard that he's pausing for 90 days. He didn't cancel the tariffs, he paused the tariffs for 90 more days. Then on April 16th, Powell came out and said, since these tariffs are still on the table, I believe these tariffs will cause economic slowdown, they will cause inflation, and because of that, I am not in a position to lower interest rates at this time. Stock markets fell even further, and just a day ago, Trump came out and basically called Powell a loser and that he believes he should have the power to fire the Fed. Now, this is my opinion, but I don't believe that this country was founded on the idea that a single individual should have this much power. And I'm not just talking about Trump, I'm talking about Powell as well. Powell is not an elected official. Powell is put into place by the president. In fact, Donald Trump put Powell into his position as the Fed chairman. And currently the president of the United States has the power to put the chairman into place in the Fed, but not to fire or remove the chairman. And Trump would like that power, and it looks like he might be trying to grab that power. Personally, I think that's a terrible idea. While I do believe Trump in his heart is doing what he thinks is best for the country, no single individual should have the power that either Trump or Powell currently have, because the minute they open their mouths, trillions of dollars are either lost or gained, and that's not what this country was built on. This country was built on checks and balances. This country was built on an idea that we elect officials, multiple officials, and those officials have a system of putting laws into place, not a single individual saying that they want something to happen and it occurs. I don't think this is good. I think for years, Powell and his ability to manipulate the interest rates has had too much power, and I understand. Powell is simply the chairman of the Fed. There is an entire board, but at the end of the day, he's the person we hear speak. So when he speaks, we see massive movements in the market. Now we have Trump enacting tariffs, and when he speaks, we're seeing massive movements in the markets, and I don't think that is the way this country should be operating. However, it's not up to me. All I can do is report back to you what's going on, and right now, the markets are uncertain. because the markets are uncertain, we are not going to see a recovery. We are not going to see this stock market come back up to its February levels until we know which direction these tariffs are going. Are they going to be in place, or are they going to go away? I mean, at the end of the day, tariffs could be good for this country. However, no right-minded businessman is going to build factories or begin putting the infrastructure in place on tariffs that may disappear in 90 days or 6 months or a year on a whim. They need to know that these tariffs are going to stay. And because of that, I don't believe these tariffs are going to stay. I believe these tariffs are a negotiating tool. And I think Trump is trying to accomplish two different goals. Number one, he is trying to make trade more fair for America. And number two, I do believe he is trying to lower the value of the dollar. And as you can see, the US dollar is down nearly 10% since these tariffs began. And what does that do? That makes foreign currencies more valuable, which makes US goods more attractive, which should cause foreigners to buy more US goods. Now, at the same time, China is rapidly devaluing their currency because China is a fraudulent country. I don't think we should be doing business with China. I think because they are legally allowed to commit fraud and lie to US businessmen and women, that is not a country we should operate with. That is not a country that we should negotiate with at all. And we could just do away with trade with China. Would hurt us in the short term, but in the long run, we'd be better off. But as I said, none of this will resolve itself until we know what Trump is actually trying to accomplish with these tariffs. And hopefully before that 90 days expires, we will know that either these tariffs are going away and he got what he wanted from his negotiations, or these tariffs are here to stay, which can allow us to build on this. And maybe this could be good for the country in the long run. And on top of all this, while this news was going on behind the scenes, Social Security Administration just made it more difficult for every American to apply for benefits because it is official that you can no longer use the telephone to apply for benefits. You only have two options to apply. You either go into the Social Security Administration and good luck making an appointment, because you can't call and make an appointment anymore because the phone lines are too crazy. You have to go online. So that means you have to know how to use a computer, and a lot of retirees don't know how to use computers, or they aren't computer savvy, or they just simply don't have access to that kind of technology. However, we are seeing that the Social Security Administration has allowed you to make basically every election or change for your Social Security except applying for widow benefits, which that's the one benefit that should be available online, but it isn't. So if you want to apply for widow benefits, you must make an appointment. How do you make an appointment? You go online to their online tool, and that is the way you make an appointment in person. The issue I have with Social Security pushing everything online. Now, the reason they're doing this is because they fear that there's too much fraud in telephones. And I do have to agree. There is too much fraud. Anybody can get your information and call in and apply for benefits. Probably a good idea. But that means they should have more staff available to have more appointments available to meet in person, or offer maybe a Zoom option instead of just an online or an in-person option. So now you can go to ssa.gov. You can make your appointments online. You can set up individual benefits. You can set up spousal benefits. You can change from your benefit to your spouse's benefit. You can change your direct deposit information. You basically are allowed to do everything online as long as you understand how the online system works, and not everybody does. So this is going to hurt a lot of older Americans. And the other big issue I have with this is if you're going online, you're not speaking with somebody. You're not getting that advice. You don't even know if you're making the correct decision on one of the biggest financial decisions you're going to make in your life, which is when and how should I apply for Social Security? If you have not sat down with an advisor, if you have not sat down with a financial expert in regards to Social Security, please do not go online and apply for benefits. You want to meet with somebody in person and look at all of your options, because there are hundreds of options when it comes to applying for Social Security, and making the wrong option can cost you hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of lost revenue in your bank account. Make sure you check back on this channel as we update you further on what's actually happening in this economy, because all of these moves inside the stock market, a near bear market territory, is caused based on speculation of what we think may happen in the future. Hasn't happened yet. It's what we think may happen. And when it actually occurs, whether that's the tariffs disappear or the tariffs go into place, I truly believe this market will recover quickly, because the fundamentals of this economy are still strong. Powell will eventually, at some point in the future, lower interest rates. We will get out of this mess. We'll get back to the way things should be. If you like videos like this, check out some of my other videos. Leave a comment down below. Make a suggestion for future videos. And as always, I'll see you next time.